Hi, I'm Melanie.
And I'm Corey.
And welcome to Love 'em and Lead 'em.
Lessons and laughs with the ladies of Dog Training Camp USA.
In this podcast, you'll take away proven and practical dog training advice with plenty of stories and laughs along the way.
Join us as we share our experience from the kennel and from life.
With that, let's sniff our way into this episode.
We're back.
Howdy.
Hey, this is exciting. You know why?
Why?
Because we're adding video. Well, sorry, fans. Sorry, now you have to look at us too.
Yeah. It's that whole face for radio joke. That's how I feel.
That you have one?
No, you.
No, you. Well, I was just gonna say, I think you wore the best shirt possible today.
Oh, yeah.
So for those of you that are listening, Melanie has a black shirt on and it says crusty white dog and it has 5
I don't even
pictures of crusty white dogs.
I don't even think you need to describe it. I think everybody, when you say the words crusty white dog, can pretty much summon that.
It's fantastic. I would can we just give a shout out to my personal favorite crusty white dog?
Yeah.
Do you have a guess who it is? Do you have a favorite crusty white dog?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What's yours?
What's yours?
Mine at the moment, the moment would be Autumn Rose of Teddy and Autumn.
Oh, a Teddy and Autumn.
She's not like Snow White,
You know
but
what?
she's pretty white. She's not super crusty either because she gets really good taken care of. But I mean, you don't wipe her eyes, she'll get some crust.
Yeah, some of that mouth and eyeball crust, it doesn't matter. They could get groomed every week and they would still have that. Shout out to Autumn Rose because that's a good one. I was thinking back into the archives.
Zeus.
You knew it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Zeus. He was the OG crusty white fighting dog.
He was mean.
But we made friends and his mom is awesome. And so
He was one. So he was so small, but he was so mean.
he was biting our grandkids and stuff.
But he was missing some teeth, so it wasn't
It wasn't overly dangerous.
it wasn't murder time, right? But all of my trainers at the kennel were pretty scared of him. I mean, he was pretty nasty. You remember,
I do.
everybody was like,
I
"What
do.
do we do with this?" So, in the interest of teaching them a lesson, and I had actually forgotten about this story when we were talking about the topic of our show today. I was like, I'm gonna leave the gloves by his kennel and not tell anybody anything and see. I mean, I
Please
think I gave
don't
him,
do this at home.
I think I gave him a heads up, hey, this dog we're having a little bit of trouble getting him in and out, but so I think I said make sure all the doors are closed, some safety things like that. But as far as telling them that they were
The
gonna
approach,
get
the
bit,
best approach.
yeah, I mean, the dog had bit me before I even, turned it over to that, and I was like, okay, he's not going to break skin. He didn't have the power, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he probably maybe could have.
He did have the desire.
And yes, in his old days, when he was younger, but he wasn't gonna, tear into your flesh or anything. So I was like, let's just see what they do. And it was interesting, some of them called me and they were like, hey, I'm not sure how to handle this. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad you checked in. It's this and this. And it was a conversation of, you can always call me and I'll always help you.
And some of them just
And some of them
figured
just
it out, powered through.
Manned up and just was like, I don't know what to do, but I just did the thing. And those people I also gave accolades to because I was like, sometimes you just handle things, and if it was safe for you and it was safe for the dog and you got them done what you needed to get done, then and nobody was super traumatized, then you've just grown your confidence as a dog handler and problem solving.
I agree.
And you did great.
I agree.
So it was an interesting.
It's cool to see how people approach things differently, and then it really tells us a lot about their figure outable abilities.
How much neuroplasticity
And
they
if they're
have.
and, their level of fear and skittishness around
Oh, for sure.
around that kind of thing. So, obviously, we felt we could handle the dog or we wouldn't have taken it. So, it wasn't a huge, like, murder risk.
No, and I knew yeah, I knew exactly what I was looking at. We
Also,
knew when
not
we
only
brought him in.
did I feel like he didn't have all his teeth, he was also 9 years old. So part of the thing about him was he'd been acting like this for 9 years. So we were
Yeah,
tasked with making him more palatable for the grandchildren, and
yeah.
poor
They
guy was stressed out, but
they
he did awesome.
yeah, they lived happily ever after
They
for
really
sure.
did.
So,
So
um,
anyway, shout out to the, crusty white dog shirt. I love it.
yeah, yeah, I always think about that you have to get a little bit tricky sometimes when you're training, um, new new dog handlers and new dog trainers because they can get a little skittish on you and you can really psych them out, um like, if you're not really careful, like, if they're still learning dog body language, things can you can take a wrong read on wrong situations, and inexperienced handlers and trainers are typically ones that get bit, so,
Yeah.
because 'cause they're not as sure of what they're doing, so, um,
He gave us a lot of good experience and a lot of good lessons, and
yeah.
his mom was one that some of the fixes were so, so simple, and she was mind blown because she saw the difference, like taking him off of her lap and putting him on the floor, and it blew her mind. Remember, she wouldn't let anybody babysit that dog after training because they were gonna ruin him? Do you remember?
I forgot about that.
Love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
so
So anyway, we opened with
yeah,
the shirt.
yeah, the shirt, but I can think of times at the kennel where there were some sketchy things going on that we had to kind of lead our team through and figure out together whether it was like health of a dog or um people getting bit, like you've been bit, I've been bit.
Mostly, like, when you say sketchy, you mean some sketchy dog behavior, some strategizing, some things like that.
Yeah, yeah. So like I guess we both have our we both each have our different like leadership styles, and it wasn't always as we were like figuring out this business and how this was all going to work, like we knew we had all the pieces but we were still trying to figure out what piece went where.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a dance. Look, we're gonna do the Wayne's World.
What is that?
We're going backwards in time. Oh my god. Seriously? Okay. I
I've seen it
can't.
like once. I'm
I'm done
sorry.
with you you can't even hang with the Wayne's World reference.
I've made that pretty clear even
So
before this story that I'm about to tell. Yeah, so we were kind of working together, kind of training dogs, having fun. Our business was very small. We had a 2,000 square foot warehouse.
we
We
had
were training.
nine kennels.
Yeah, I mean, we were teeny tiny, but the stakes were relatively low. But um, I had a trainer that was on the shift one night that was just there after training in the evening, letting the dogs out, feeding them, going potty, doing waters and stuff. And she calls me and she's like, "What was that dog's name?"
I'm not gonna
It
think of
was a
it.
male German Shepherd. I think it was Sully, and, I think was his name, and he was a little bit sketchy, but he was kinda sketchy in the way, like, he was a mama's boy, and he was like, "If you're not my mom, I'm not really interested in you," like,
Yeah,
but
like
friendly enough, but just kind of like, anybody else can fuck off,
yeah.
and so he's like had been in his kennel, had kinda ducked when we put the leash on him a couple times, but hadn't really given us any trouble.
Just enough behavior for somebody to be like, I better be careful."
Yeah, yeah, just enough to scare somebody. So she calls me, she's like, "I can't get the leash off of Sully, I just walked him." And I'm like, "Is he growling at you?" And she's like, "No." And I'm like, "Is he barking? Is he contained?" I started asking all my questions, and, she had him in his kennel contained, and I don't remember
She was really worked up though. He must have done
it's been a
something.
long time
I
ago.
know. I
I
know.
feel like she had the leash on him, and she couldn't get the leash off of
Maybe
him.
he was chomping at
And
her or
that's why I
something like
had to
that.
go like, that's why I felt like I had to get down there kinda quickly,
Also because
because
she was kind of freaking out.
yeah, there was a little bit of urgency to it. And so we were just happened to be together doing something, I don't know what. Um, and so Corey and I hop in the car and go down to the office. We're probably, 15 minutes away. And
Mel's got on her serious pants.
so I'm like, what is going on? And then my trainer in there was like, here's what he did. And I look through the window at the dog and we're looking through a window and out into the kennel area and we're in a separate area of the building. And I'm like, he doesn't look that pissed off to me,
She
but
was worked up
she
though,
was so worked up that I was like, if they've been sitting here staring at each other for 15 minutes that it took me to get down here,
and
like
she's shaking and all
he
worked
might
up.
be pretty like screwed.
Yeah, he
Um,
he was not looking agitated, but we felt like the situation lent it to him being agitated.
it's true. It's true. So I mean, I don't remember what
You were like, you put on your serious. I was in the army pants, and you looked at me, and
I don't fit in those pants anymore, by the way.
you looked at me said and said, "I'm gonna go in here with this dog. If it gets out, do not open this door for any reason." Roar. And I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Did I actually, roar at you?
No, but you sounded like that. You
Yeah,
were real mean.
yeah.
And I said, well, wait a minute. What am I supposed to do? You're like, don't open this door no matter what happens. If I'm getting mauled by this dog, do not open the door. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. And then came the line.
It's lived in dog training camp infamy. And I looked at Corey and I said, "Agree to the terms or get out of my kennel." Like, that's your choices.
And I said, I do not agree to the terms. I did not agree to the
You
terms.
did say that. You
And
did say that.
and I don't know that anybody had ever said that to you.
Yeah, no. I didn't think this would actually happen to me, like, outside of the army where you just tell people what to do, and if they question you, you know exactly what you're supposed to do, X, Y, Z steps administratively, and I was like, "Well, I don't remember what I
You're like,
did."
what do you mean you don't comply? Comply. And I'm like, no, I do not comply. Let's take a minute and talk about this.
Well, and then as you're standing there arguing with me, I pretty much just stormed out the door, slammed it behind me, marched up, pissed off, walked up to the kennel, yanked the leash off the stupid dog, closed the kennel door, and the dog's sitting there like,
What just
"The
happened?
fuck just happened?" And then we just were bickering, like,
And
"What the
meanwhile,
fuck?"
the employee is like standing there shaking in her boots.
Yeah.
No, excuse me. I said, listen, there was a little more conversation before you stormed out.
There was
Um,
just, like, back and forth.
we never agreed.
I was like, "Okay, well, you stand out here and you call 911
So I
but
said,
you don't come in there."
this is not an emergency because the dog is contained. So let's take a second and just, I want you to tell me what you're going to do and then what I should do. And I will promise that I won't let any kid or anybody come in here, but let me just make sure we're on the same page with the plan.
Those were also the days of I was very new at what I was doing and still learning, like, what was an emergency and not an emergency, so I was like, I can't leave this dog in here with this leash on all night." Like, it was like, it was quitting time. It was 7, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I was pissed I was down there, and I was like, "You know what? I'm just going in." So,
So
um,
since that day,
we say agree to the terms. When we wanna make fun of Melanie, it's agree to terms. You
I
asshole.
don't feel like I've ever exactly agreed to the terms without a conversation. So it really is a blend of our two communication and leadership styles.
Not really one for, like, questioning
Yeah. Well, I
as
mean,
opposed to
how
hierarchy.
was it in the military? I mean, what
Like, you earned somebody's trust by not being an asshole to them if you were their boss, and then you trusted that by doing that, well, at least this is how I did it and how I kinda do it now. You do that by then you know when it's time to tell them to do something, they're gonna be like, "Boss told me to do it, I'm gonna go do it because I know this guy knows what he's doing and he's square away and wouldn't treat me terribly." The other big thing in the military too is, like, as a boss, you're never gonna do anything. You're never gonna ask your lowest member of your organization to do anything that you wouldn't do yourself,
Well,
right? Like,
I will subscribe to that.
yes, yeah, I mean, that's why you and I that's one thing we totally agree on. We're in there cleaning up diarrhea, and we're pitching
I'm
it.
gagging the whole time, but I'll do it.
Mm,
I do
sometimes
it.
you walk away. I have that on actual camera of you just abandoning me.
When I was dry
Die.
heaving.
Anyway,
When I
so
was dry heaving, my eyes were watering.
but I do, I have video proof of that one. You just left me. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's how I've always done it. It's never really led me astray until that moment when I was like, "Look, you know what I'm doing. We've been working together a while now, and you're gonna question me in my own kennel." Like, yeah, it
Correct.
pissed me off.
And my viewpoint was, I just need, like, let's just take one beat and let's get a whole actual plan instead of, do not come in here even if I'm half dead. And then you're going to storm
That's not
out.
what I s
And like, oh my God, what if she does get half dead? What do I do? So I kind of like my style is more, let's have a conversation and make a plan and then execute the plan. And you had done that, but the difference is I need it to be articulated. You just had it in your own
"Okay,
head.
okay, I didn't communicate it. I had a plan."
So, anyway, but over these years, we've kind of melded these 2
Yeah,
styles, and then sometimes we get tripped up with each other and butt heads
yeah.
because of,
Oh, for sure.
agree to the terms.
But the other funny part of that story, I think, is I obviously have no idea what that dog was doing before I got there. All I know is that he hadn't given me any trouble, but, I was so pissed off at you that I just there was no way I was gonna set that dog off because he was like because the energy I went into the situation, right? So, like, I think when I marched in there, I was like, "That leash is coming off you." What I said with my body.
Yeah.
I didn't say this with words. If I would have said this with words, he wouldn't have understood it. But "That leash is coming off you, and I ain't fucking around, and I don't have a lot of time to waste." And I opened it, didn't look at him, took it off kind of quickly and shut it. And I think like, that's energy that other humans and dogs recognize as well, like,
It's decisive and it's
yes,
quick and, you didn't hesitate.
yes, yeah, so, um, that's the other kind of skill that you have in these really in any leadership position, but especially, life or death leadership positions where like we're in charge of animals. And I've had times when I was in charge of other human life. Um, and you kind of learn like no decision is kind of the worst decision in an emergency. And that's kind of, that's been my I'll
Well,
usually
it's
do
like,
something.
do something.
Yeah.
Even with our training, if you don't know what to do, just do something.
Well,
Don't
and
stand there, get distance or whatever.
that's
Do
what
something.
that's why I'm bringing this up because we tell people all the time, like, you're always right. Your dog does not know any different.
It's actually the only relationship you're ever in that you're always right.
It's true.
I mean, human and, if you have a cat, you're never right. If
Yeah,
have kids, you're never right.
of course.
So it's
Husband.
the only
Yeah.
relationship that you have is with you and your dog that you are always right.
So imagine if you went through your day. Think about yourself now and how you go through your day, get gas, go to the store, drop the kids off. You went through your day where you knew you could do nothing wrong. Like you could make no wrong choices. Imagine how that would affect your behavior and how you carried yourself. And I don't want you to do that. Like obviously there's some
It's on.
risk.
I'm going to do that.
You already pretty much do that. I think, that's where the secret sauce is. Like, whether you're connecting with humans, you're in charge of humans, or, you just are trying to improve your relationship with your dog at home. Like, it resonates with dogs. that confidence and that, that
Decisiveness. Like, I'm
yeah,
not
fortitude.
wishy-washy. I'm just gonna tell you what to do.
Yeah, fortitude. So I can think of a ton of clients that we've helped kind of find some inner strength that they didn't know they had before because they fixed this super frustrating problem with their dog just by like standing up straighter. Like, and
Yeah.
then the dog was like, "Oh, okay, I get it." Like in some cases, like that's literally all the dog needs to be to understand the cue.
Well,
But
especially with dogs, we're using mostly body language and nonverbal communication and offering our attention, which
yeah.
is what they want, strategically. So we're not just, here we go again, we're not just giving away the milk for free.
Mhm.
And, when we can get the humans to see that as, oh, I just need to tell him what to do and it solves almost all of these problems. Oh, well, I could do that. I
Yeah.
can be a leader because they
Yeah.
see it make a difference in their dog's behavior and their dog's um, anxiety and whatnot. When there's no clear leader, there's tons of problems.
Yeah.
It's pervasive. It's not just dogs. Dogs need a leader, but humans need a leader. If there's no leader in the family or somebody that takes charge, the family doesn't know what to do. Same as work, same as
Business.
everything.
Well, I remember this reminds me of a story.
Oh, geez.
This was back this has been like 4 years ago or more, um, when it was kind of around pandemic time, the business was, like, struggling so freaking bad. Like, we had no money, we had no dogs in the kennel, we were all jacked up, and, I got on a Zoom call with everybody. I had some at the time, I had some trainers working for me in other places, in Lexington and Cincinnati, and I had just had a baby. Like, we were not paying ourselves. I mean, we were like, every
We were
entrepreneur is
bootstrapping it.
like rock bottom.
Yeah.
Like that was
Yeah.
this time in
We were
our
on the treadmill
history.
for sure.
And so we get on this Zoom call and I'm just having a terrible day. It's probably hormonal still. Like it was right. Either I was pregnant or had just been pregnant. And I was like, "You guys, we're doing everything we can. I know there's no business." Like, I mean, we had some people on the payroll that had young kids
Yeah.
and oh my god, it was a terrible time. And we got off of that and you looked at me and you were like, "You got to get it together." You were like, "You just probably scared the shit out of our whole team because of how like bad you were on that call." And I was like, "Oh my god, like, what did I do?" You were exactly right. I was like, I had no business talking like that to the entire team, but it just, like, got to me, so that's, like, a leadership lesson too, like, 'cause way down the road in my career, and it was, like, kind of the lowest of the low and mistakes that you make along the way.
It's hard for us as the business owners to stuff that down a little bit,
Yeah,
um, and put on the brave, "I'm a leader, everything's gonna be okay" face when you don't feel like it's gonna be, and or you don't know that it's gonna be, but that's any business. I mean, that's life in general, for heaven's sakes. But it kind of goes with the dogs too because, if you have a reactive dog and the last thing you wanna do is take it on a walk because 'cause you're terrified of how it's gonna act, and the neighbors are gonna look at you, and it's gonna be a mess, and you might not be strong enough to hold it, and you got pulled down. So, you have 2 choices. You do it scared and show the dog that you don't know what you're doing,
yeah,
or you fake it till you make it, and you put on your big girl pants, and you go, and you act confident, and the dog is gonna respond accordingly. So, I mean, we teach that all the time to our clients,
yeah.
but sometimes it's hard. You can't do it all the time, so you gotta take
No.
a minute to get it together.
No, yeah, you absolutely do, and I just remember how mad I was at myself because I was like, "I would never talk to my soldiers like that." Like, I know better. It just the emotions of the situation had definitely gotten the best of me, and I know it happens to everybody, but, we are I mean, that's that's where I think this gets to be such an interesting conversation because the lines are constantly blurred in the human and the dog part of this, where it's like we're telling the young mother that like, "Hey, your nuisance dog behavior is kinda just like this nuisance behavior that your toddler does." And they're like, "Ding, okay, I know
Oh my
exactly
gosh,
what
I
to
never
do."
thought of it that way. Yeah.
So I think from a leadership perspective, a lot can be gleaned from our method of training, and sometimes it's appropriate to fake it till you make it,
It absolutely
and
is.
sometimes it's appropriate to probably what I needed in that situation was give myself some grace and take a break and take
We
care of
should have
myself,
we should have rescheduled that Zoom, and you should have gone had a real good cry, and
Yeah,
we could have maybe a margarita. We can
something, man,
regroup.
something.
But that the other part of that too that's interesting, and again, we're kind of speaking business wise because yeah, we're dog trainers, but we're running this thing. So there's a lot of moving pieces. Is you kind of let it all hang out in that instance, and you did it in a way that I know did not, build confidence in
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
But now, we're having a Friday meeting and we're letting it all hang out and we're doing it all in a very different way. So
yeah,
we're, taking our team and we're giving them responsibilities that they have to come and report back to us on things. We're taking their input. We're saying, "Hey, here's a problem that we're having. What ideas do you guys have?"
yeah.
And
Oh,
we're
yeah.
not just acting like the whole thing relies on us because it's a lot of moving pieces and they all have to move together. So, we're able now to say, "Hey, here's where we're at for sales for the month. Here's where we're at for reservations. Here's what our clients are saying training wise. They mentioned you by name. They mentioned you by name." So we're able to still paint them a picture.
Yep.
It's the exact same information, but how we've painted the picture over the years has become very different.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the exact same information
Yeah, technically.
because
Yeah.
we'll say, maybe the phones are slow. Well, the phones are slow. Historically, during this time frame, this is what's going on. Right now, this is what's going on. Here's what we're doing about it. And we leave the panic and the emotion part out of it so that nobody's thinking we're going to live in a tent city.
Yeah, tent city is the quote that you use about my old freaking out, "There's no dogs in the kennel." Um, and I would call Corey and be like, "Well, I saw the perfect, tent city I'm moving into now today.
I'm losing everything. I'm moving into a tent
They're gonna
city.
take my house."
Mel, I have a lot of sayings from you.
Well, I have a lot of sayings from you too, dumbass.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's hilarious.
I wonder whatever happened to that German Shepherd.
I don't know, never heard from him again. He was mama's boy. That was the same German Shepherd where the lady came through on his birthday and fed him a blizzard, and then the
Oh my gosh, excuse me. You made me cough on that
and
one. I
then
forgot about it
the dog had diarrhea everywhere, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to prohibit clients from visiting their dogs,
on their birthdays.
at any time." And that I mean, that's how early on in my career it was. Like, we don't allow dog visits for, like, a litany of reasons, at our kennel, but, I was early enough in the game. I was like, if somebody was upset enough or missing their dog enough, I'd be like, "Yeah, calm down," "See
And
your
they fed
dog.
it a blit.
See that your dog's fine."
I guarantee that dog did not know it was his birthday.
No, and then he was just mad at me when I had to take him back away from his mom and put him back in my kennel and
And then
go home
he
with my mom
and
and
then
his
he
mom.
had diarrhea.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
And it stressed him out, so
We have over the years come up with a lot of policies and procedures and how we do things based on I always say it's like don't use your hairdryer in the bathtub, like that tag that's on your hairdryer cord. So somebody did that and then they made that
Yeah.
rule about it. Like before,
Yeah.
maybe everybody was just willy-nilly showering or using the
Maybe they
bathtub and
were.
blowing their hair dry. But it's the same for us. Like we didn't get electrocuted in the bathtub, but we got bit or vomited on or diarrhea by a German Shepherd. So we changed the rule.
Diarrhea bombed.
Diarrhea bomb.
Ooh, we might have to trademark that, like, that's what happened.
Well, so I want our favorite listeners and all of our listening audience to know you do get eyes and ears and information about your dog while we have it if we're doing training camp. We just
Oh, yeah,
try
yeah,
to
yeah.
not let you come there because it really can be a disruption, and again, we have many stories to give
Yeah.
examples of that, but you definitely are gonna know how your dog is, and you're gonna see it on Instagram, and you're gonna get report cards from us twice a week.
Well, and that
That was like
is
my that's the lawyer
well,
disclaimer.
and let's go back to leadership, right? Like, if you're a dog parent and you've got no information coming from us, of course you're gonna lend to panic, "Is my dog okay?" Like, in the absence of information, that's where we go, right? That's where the dogs go, that's where the dog parents go, humans go there too, so, you know, if my dog was at training camp and it was doing terribly, I would much rather know that than, just go radio silence and just expect that my dog's doing fine.
Yeah,
So,
we know, we treat them like we would want our dogs to be treated, so our communication reflects that.
probably better than, our own dogs.
Oh, I know. I
Okay.
definitely know better than your dog.
Yeah,
Are you gonna confess?
I'm gonna confess it because this is a we're dog trainers, but we're also human because everybody is like, your dogs must be so good. You must have such good dogs.
It's like think of it this way, guys. The preacher's kid,
The preacher's
it's
kid.
a stereotype for a reason.
Oh yeah, because it's my dog. Well, I partly it's my fault. In the morning, I went to let my dog out the door, and usually she's old enough now, like, she'll go out, do her business, and come back up and wait to be let in, and I usually, like, go, like, you know, to the bathroom or make my
If they
coffee.
listen to a previous podcast, they'll hear all about our off-leash tales with the dogs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. This is basically more an addendum to all
I
tales.
know.
Um, so I'm going to make my coffee, and I'm like, "Do, do, do." I'm half asleep. Okay, I go to get in the shower, and I forget to go get Stella. And she was just out for like an hour with unsupervised, which some dogs are fine, but if you know Stella, she's preacher's kid, and
She runs like a gazelle.
she can't have much freedom. So, um, I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I let her out." She was, we went out hollering for her once I realized it, and, she was way back in the
Yeah, she
woods.
came busting through the woods like, "You dumbasses,
Yeah.
you left me out here
I was like, "Damn it, Stella, you didn't even wait at the door for your stupid
for an
mom."
hour.
Yeah.
I would have left you too."
So, I'm like, "Haha, what a mistake." Well, I did it again this morning.
Tag and microchip your pets, people. Tag and microchip your pets.
Well, I was like, "What is wrong with me?" You know what else I did today? I almost ran out of gas, and then when I went to get gas, I pulled up to the wrong side of the gas pump.
Do we need to have you checked out?
I also had a doctor's appointment today. So, I've been checked out by a
Means you're
healthcare
checking out
provider.
the wrong areas.
It's been a day. Yeah.
Whew.
I'm surprised I'm even coherent at this point. But um
Yeah, well, again, you're off, right?
mhm.
Because you're having a hard time doing your regular things a little bit. So it's like you
And I'm
gotta
leaving my dog
you gotta
outside.
you abandoned your dog. She's like, "Auntie Corey, please be my new mother."
Yeah. Yeah.
And, again, it's fake it till you make it. You gotta get your head on, girl. You gotta even if you don't feel like it, you gotta just stand at the door till she's done going potty.
Maybe I just need a good cry and a margarita.
I feel like a
There's
lot of problems and angst can be solved with a good cry and a margarita.
I need yeah.
Actually, maybe we should do that this afternoon.
Are you winking because you're just gonna cry? Because I don't wanna come.
Oh, man. Well, what else do you wanna say about our leadership styles?
Hey, how many minutes are we in on this deal? 40?
34?
34?
Alright, we could probably call it.
Or should we riff a little more?
He's gonna have to cut this out, I don't care what we do.
Well, that's fine. How about let's talk a little bit about um some birding things and some things we have coming up.
Oh, okay. Well, so we are birders. If you want to know more about birding, don't Google it. Just call us because we'll talk about it all day, every day. We have a problem. We have had some really exciting bird encounters the last 2 days.
Oh, yeah. Hog horse.
Okay,
There
so
was hog horse at our house
we'll
yesterday.
probably put this on the Instagram stories, but Melanie likes to point out an exciting activity of a bird or an exciting bird or something fun going on and then hand me binoculars. And when I look at when I look up to see what's going on, she Snapchats me to our team and they all laugh and make fun of me because I am doing things like gasping and acting out what's going on and commentating on it.
Yesterday when the hawks were, like, fighting in the air, you were like, "Ah! Did you see his feet?"
I was like, they're getting each other with their feet.
"Yes, that's what you." Oh,
So
man.
we saw 3 hawks going after each other
Yeah.
way up high in the air,
Oh, yeah.
and then you saw a lot of big movement. We like to work a lot when we're doing computer stuff on our porch,
Yeah.
and there was something big going on, a kerfuffle of sorts down in the woods.
Oh, yeah, there's a hawk's nest, like, right close to where we
We
live,
think it's a nest, we're pretty sure.
and, we're watching it pretty closely. Also, we, think the summer tanagers are back.
That's my gateway bird.
Yes, Corey's gateway bird. Also kinda my gateway bird too, because had the same reaction where you, like, saw it and you were like, "That's a weird looking cardinal," and then when you pointed out to me, I was like, "Oh, yeah, this is weird. I gotta know everything about this." I'm
Yeah.
literally obsessed now.
So then today, you've been seeing this bird, but I
Oh,
haven't, and it's become a bit of a bone of contention
this is
because
number
you don't
6.
call for me when you see it. You just come in and you're like, I saw a bald eagle. Every time. Like I'm like, I'm right here. You know where I am. You can
That's
come
not
get
true.
me.
That only happened one
Mhm.
time. There was
Mhm.
you were literally sitting in front of a client. So if I told you about the bald eagle, I was gonna have to switch places with you.
Yeah.
I wanted to see the
Way to
bald
not
eagle.
sacrifice. Way to just be so selfish.
Well, you saw it today.
So
Of
today
course. Oh, yeah.
I
Handsome
was
guy.
literally on the phone, on speakerphone with the binoculars up and looking at the bald eagle. It was magnificent.
Bald eagles are so back, baby.
America.
Fuck yeah. Um, what other I did see a, yellow rumped warbler yesterday,
You did?
and
Those are my
we
favorite of
were
the rump colors.
we were in a bank meeting together. We were in a bank meeting, and the banker started, like, saying something. I was like, "I'm not listening to this," and I just marched off with my binoculars and found the yellow-rumped warbler, and, it was like a bank meeting, like, they were like, "You want how much money?
You can put your house up as
Fuck off."
collateral.
Yeah. "Fuck off, ladies." Like, one of those types of bank meetings, and that was when that was, like, the yellow-rumped
Again,
warbler just
so I'd like
appeared
to
to me.
point out again, you just left me. You left me to go find a bird, which was probably more fun than what I was doing. I had another bird incident yesterday as well. And I was at an amazing workshop with the St. Matthew's Chamber and my friend Shane Shaps, who runs Big Voice Social, and she is an amazing content creator for businesses. And all this to say, I was sitting in a classroom at Sullivan University and there was a lot of pecking going on. It's pecking sounds. And I was like, what is that? About 25 people in there. Don't make a joke. And I turn around and there is a Canadian goose, Canada goose, whatever, and it is pecking at the window, biting the window over and over and over and over. It sounded like a jackhammer on the window glass. And the guy from Sullivan goes, "Oh, sorry, everybody. Don't mind him. That's just Bruce." So
Hell yeah.
we've had in 2 days, we've had a lot of bird encounters.
It's really, I mean, spring is sprung and they are active, baby.
It is exciting. It's an exciting time to be a birder.
It is. We saw the purple martins a couple weeks ago out at
We've
Bernheim.
got 2 hummingbirds at home.
Oh yeah, hummingbirds are.
You saw Pileated woodpecker yesterday afternoon.
Oh yeah, me and him were just palling.
A lot of pecking going on.
Yeah, yeah. Um, we we should say this since the word is kind of out that we're birders, right? Here's what I think we should say about this and why we feel like it's applicable to talk about at our podcast and during dog business is
Okay.
because like we feel so connected to nature and things around us and
And we're
that
paying
we're
attention.
vibrating on the same frequency as our dogs and paying attention to nature is good for you. And to me, like this, like PTSD standpoint, like if I'm having a terrible day, up here, it's something like I can go outside and hear the birds, and my nervous system knows that there's no danger,
Yeah.
like primitively. And then it's such a good, just like grounding, um, you know, it takes you out of floating out of your body. It puts you back in and you're in the moment and there's that bird there and you focus on that. So it's been a really therapeutic thing for me. If
Same.
anybody wants to get into it, we will show you how because I do think, birds and dogs and caterpillars and all the other critters, they all know things we don't. So if we just watch them and pay attention to them, we'll know those things too.
I agree with everything you said, except for I feel like maybe you and Stella aren't vibrating on the same wavelength.
Daughters, am I right?
Oh, yeah, we love to share birding, so just
Yep.
holla if you want us to teach you about a little birding. We're no experts, but we have been learning along the way.
We're no experts, but we're pretty passionate about
We're no experts. What we
it.
lack in
Oh,
education, we make up for in enthusiasm.
yeah, there's a Corey line.
Yep.
If I ever did have one.
All right.
All right.
We'll catch you next time, guys.
Catch you on the flip.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Love 'em and Lead 'em. If you want to hear more, be sure to check us out every other week on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Please be sure to follow us on Instagram at Dog Training Camp USA Louisville and check out our website at dogtrainingcamplouisville.com for more information on our training and other services.
If you need help with your dog, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find our contact details in the show notes.
We'll smell you later.